What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're doing well. Let's start with the MLB Standings update. We are in the home stretch of the season. We have about 2 or so weeks left. At this point, maybe a little less than that. American League East, Toronto leads the division by 4 games. The Yankees by 4 games. Red Sox by 5.5. They're playing good baseball right now. Just beat up on a last place Baltimore Orioles team. Their maximum to clinch the division is now 9. It's going to be obviously much less than that to clinch the overall playoff spot, but playing good right now. Yankees just took 2 or 3 from the Red Sox at home. That's a big series for them. And we got American League Central. Detroit's division went down to 6.5 games over Cleveland, who's gotten hot the last couple of weeks. Cleveland put themselves, they're right there in the wild card race. And the division's not over yet. Detroit still have a firm lead. They're 20 games over 500 at 85 and 65. 6.5 game lead for the division now. American League West, Seattle has now sole position of first place in the AL West. They have won 9 games in a row. Right now, the hottest team in baseball. 9 straight wins for them. They have a game lead over the Houston Astros. They are at 82 and 68. Texas Rangers have also been playing well. Just took 2 out of 3 from the Mets. They're only 3 games out of the division as well. Nationally, heading to the East, Phillies officially clinch a playoff spot. Mention number is 1 to clinch the National League East. Of course, Mets finally got a win last night, or yesterday. It was the day game, after losing the previous 8. Brewers have already clinched a playoff spot. Division lead over the Cubs is at 5.5 games, so should win the division, but it's not over yet. The only team over 90 wins this season, best record in baseball as of right now. Phillies kind of creeping up on them. While for home field advantages, looking at the American League, right now Toronto, I think, is 2.5 or 3.5 ahead of Detroit for the number 1 seed in the American League. Detroit leads Seattle by 3 games for a first round bye right now. In the National League, the Brewers lead the Blue Jays by, I think it's 3.5 or 4.5 games for the best record in all of baseball. They are 2 games ahead of Philadelphia for the 1 seed in the National League right now, and the Dodgers are like 4.5 games behind the Phillies for a bye. So Phillies should have a bye if nothing else. Cubs 5.5 out of the division. Dodgers still 2.5 games ahead of San Diego right now. Giants have gotten hot, put them back in the wild card race. Up there on the Rockies, they are 41 and 109. So they need to win 1 game the rest of the way to not to have a better record than the White Sox last year. But 41 and 109, playing really bad right now, as they have all year. But really playing bad right now. 41 and 109. Good Lord. But they are horrid. The wildcard race, Yankees, first wildcard right now. They are a game and a half ahead of Boston, who have a second wildcard. Houston's the last team in right now. They're a game behind Boston for the second wildcard spot, 2.5 games behind the Yankees for the first wildcard spot. Like I said, they're still only a game out of their division. Texas is 2 games behind Houston. Of course, they're only 3 games out of the West themselves. Cleveland has gotten hot. 1-9 the last 10, and each of the last 4. They are 2.5 games behind Houston. They have an enormous series starting today or tomorrow, with the Detroit Tigers. They're 6.5 behind the Tigers. You take 3 out of 4 from Detroit. If you could find a way somehow, that would put you 4.5 games out with 8 or 9 games to go. Still a long shot when it comes to the division, but you give yourself a shot. And also, 2.5 out right now. You take 3 out of 4. You give yourself a real legit shot of sneaking into the playoffs. Kansas City's fallen 6 games out of the wild card. Nationally, Cubs are the first wild card. Padres are the second wild card. They're 3.5 games behind the Cubs for the first wild card spot. Mets are the last team in. They're right now 5 games behind the Padres for the second wild card. Giants are a game and a half out. They were red hot for a while. They've come back down to earth lately, but have been playing really good baseball over these last few weeks. Arizona, who's been playing better. Of course, they still love everything at the deadline. They're right at 500 right now. They've been playing better. All of a sudden, they're only 2 games out. The Reds are 2.5 games out. Cardinals are 4 games out. Honestly, it's really been more of how bad the Mets have been. I mean, they've lost 9 of the last 11 games. They've just been so bad lately. And they haven't played good baseball consistently since June, really. But they've been really bad over these last couple of weeks. So the Giants were red hot, but this last week they've cooled off and they're still right there. Like Arizona's been playing actually some decent baseball since the deadline. A bit of a pleasant surprise, but you're 500. You should not be 2 games out of the wild card on September 15th. The Reds have been inconsistent all year. You have been playing well in 3 weeks. The Cardinals have been mediocre as hell all year. You sold out at the deadline. You've been at best a 500 team pretty much all year. Maybe you were a slightly above average team. Before the deadline, after the deadline, you've been a slightly below average team. Obviously, you traded away a couple of good players, but them being 4 games under 500, they're not playing that well, and you're 4 games out of a playoff spot with 12 games to go. It shows you how bad the backup National League is. Best team the Mets are when they're on, they're really good. They on paper have an elite offense. Obviously, you have some young starting pitching that's coming up right now. But when they're off, just the pitching's really bad, and the offense is also really bad. When they're on, I think they're potential contender. When they're off, they don't even belong in the playoff picture. So I'm hoping that they hold off the Giants and the rest of these teams. They start a series with the Padres at home tomorrow. A huge 3 games coming up for the Mets. College football, week 3 in the books. Number 22, Indiana beat Indiana State 73-0. I didn't think it would be that bad, but it was. Mendoza, the quarterback, 19 of 20 for 270 and 5 touchdowns, lights the world on fire. One of the receivers, Cooper Jr., 10 catches for 207 and 4 touchdowns. Big game for him. Indiana blows Indiana State out of the water. They're also a good start. Number 1, Ohio State beats Ohio 37-9. Julian Sayin, 25 of 32 for 347 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jeremiah Smith, 9 catches, 153 yards, and a touchdown. I expect him to be the first receiver taken in the draft. Actually, no, wait. Is he even eligible this year? No, he'll be eligible until next year. I just realized. But when he gets drafted, he will be the top receiver off the board. And might be top 5 pick in whatever draft he goes into. On number 2, Penn State beats Villanova 52-6. I always forget that Villanova even has a football program. Drew Aller, I guess they enough to put the job done. It was against Villanova for crying out loud. Number 3, LSU beats Florida 20-10. DJ likewise struggles, 33 or 4 for 287 and a touchdown. LSU looks really, really good this year. Saw Brian Kelly get testy with a reporter about, something about, I'm sure showing on 3rd down or something, but regardless, yes, he hasn't screwed it up yet. LSU looks really good. You pick up a win against Clemson in week 1, you win week 2, you beat Florida week 3. Man, they got to get rid of Billy Napier. That is, every year we think, they're finally going to turn the corner. They're ranked 13th going into this year. You lose on a missed chip shot field goal the previous week, and now you lose to LSU in the game. LSU's an elite team, but 20-10 was a winnable game. Kept it close, and you were not able to come through. Number 4, Oregon beats Northwestern 34-14. Dante Moore, 16 of 20 for 178 and a touchdown. Number 5, Miami over USF by a lot, 49-12. Carson back 23 of 20 for 340 yards and 3 touchdowns. Big game for him. He looks really good. USF with back-to-back upsets to start the year. Got them to the top 20. Suffered their first loss at Hard Rock Stadium to the University of Miami, who's looked really good. They haven't shown much fall off. I thought a lot of people thought thus far. Was definitely the game of the week. Number 6, Georgia gets past number 15, Tennessee, 44-41 in overtime. Jose Aguilar did play well for Tennessee, 3 for 371, 4 scores, but was not enough. Georgia stays undefeated. Tennessee's first loss of the season. But that was a great game. I think Georgia were like 9 in a row or something like that against the Volunteers. So Georgia picked up the win in overtime. Number 7, Texas beats UTEP 27-10. A little worried about Texas. Look, that roster's loaded. Defensively, they've looked excellent, but Arch Manning, he has not looked good. Whether it's media hype or lack of readiness compared to what we all thought, he has not looked great. But they pick up the win over UTEP. Number 16, Texas A&M upsets number 8 Notre Dame 41-40. Uh, they score late on a late touchdown to win. Their quarterback, Reed, Marcel Reed, 17-37 for 360 and 2 scores. Notre Dame is 0-2 on the year, and they don't have a ranked game the rest of the year. It's going to be interesting because they're going to have to run the table to get in. If they run the table, finish 10-2, maybe they have a shot. But also, they're like the only 2 real teams you lost to. It's not a good look for Notre Dame. So, really brutal start for them. If they lose one game to one of these Jags that they have the rest of the way, their season is beyond over. Number 9, Illinois beats Western Michigan 38-0. Wasn't even close. Illinois looks very good this year. Vanderbilt with a huge upset over number 11 South Carolina, 31-7. A big upset for them. Their quarterback, Paiva, 18-25, 177, 2 touchdowns. So big upset for Vanderbilt. Remember, they beat Alabama in Northwest upset last year. And now another big SEC upset for them. So they look good, Vanderbilt. Georgia Tech beats number 12 Clemson 24-21 in an upset. Haynes King, 20 of 28 for 211 yards. Runs for 103 yards on a touchdown. 25 carries, which is crazy. Clemson, man, they look rough. They look terrible. You lose to LSU in week 1 for all that smack that Dabo Swinney talked. You barely get by Troy, sucks in week 2, and then you lose to Georgia Tech, who is a good team. I do think they will be a threat in the ACC this year. But you're a better football team than them. We had everyone saying, Clemson, who last year wasn't great. I think it was 8-4, 9-3. You barely get by SMU in the ACC title game. You only make the cut for the playoff because of the way the 12-team playoff works. They had to get a bid. You lose in the first round. But this year, they added a bunch of pieces. Everyone said they're underrated. They were 4th best team heading into the country, and they just look terrible. They look really bad, really bad. Number 13 Oklahoma beats Temple 42-3. The Sooners have looked really good so far this year. Number 14 Iowa State beats Arkansas State 24-16. So Arkansas State gives them a run for their money, but Iowa State hangs on to win. Number 17 Ole Miss beats Arkansas 41-35. Arkansas might nick them in that game. Was very, very close. Very good game, but Ole Miss gets it done. Number 19 Alabama beats Wisconsin 38-14. Ty Simpson 24 of 29 for 382 and 4 touchdowns. So played a lot better. Was also playing Wisconsin, who is not very good. Number 20 Utah beats Wyoming 31-6. They look good. The huge number 21 Texas Tech beats Oregon State 45-14. Number 20 Michigan beats Central Michigan 63-3. Bryce Underwood looks a little better, 16 of 25 or 235 and a touchdown. Also runs for 114 yards and 2 touchdowns. Quite a little better, but also playing Central Michigan, who sucks. Number 24 Auburn beats South Alabama 31-15. And number 25 Missouri cruises by Louisiana 52-10. With that, let's look at the AP rankings heading into week 4 for college football. Here's the top 10. Ohio State at 1, Penn State at 2, LSU at 3, Miami up to 4, Georgia up to 5, Oregon moves down to 6. Florida State is now ranked 7th. Texas is up to 8th in the down route, 8th in the country. Illinois remains at 9. A&M is up to 10th in the country. Oklahoma up to 11th, Ohio State up to 12th. Ole Miss up to 13th. Alabama shoots up to 14th. Tennessee remains at 15th. Utah up to 16th. Texas Tech is up to 17th. Georgia Tech enters the rankings. They're all the way in the top 20 at 18th. Indiana is up to 19th. Vanderbilt, welcome to the rankings. They are ranked 20th in the country. Who would have thought that? Michigan up to 21st. Auburn up to 22nd. Missouri up to 23rd. Notre Dame plummets all the way down to 24th in the country. And Southern California, I'm pretty sure that's USC. They enter the rankings, rounding out the rankings at number 25. NFL games, week 2, Sunday slate. Bengals over the Jaguars 31-27. They pick up the win, but unfortunately, except for a big loss in the form of Joe Burrow. Here's the clip. Sorry I had no sound. The clip, the only clip I could find. it was like basically some random dude kind of talking over. I didn't think it really fit what I was going for. But Joe Burrow suffered a really bad turf toe injury. He's going to have surgery on it. He's going to miss at least 3 months. That's a brutal blow for the Bengals. Burrow's obviously one of the best quarterbacks in all football. And he's going to be out a while with that injury. This is why you'd be able to go offensive line. They have not even given him a passable offensive line his entire career. He's in year 6. Like, how many injuries does this guy have? He tore his ACL in his rookie season. He had the broken wrist in his, year 3 a couple of years ago, or year 3 or 4. He had the calf injury in training camp that year. Now he's got the toe surgery. Hell, if he had an extra second in the Super Bowl a few years ago, they would win the Super Bowl. That Super Bowl of the Rams because Jamar was wide open in that last play. Really, it's a shame. He's one of the league's best quarterbacks, but now he is hurt again because the Bengals just refused to put a good offensive line around him. Jake Brown was their backup. He did some cool things, but also did throw 3 interceptions in the game after coming in for Burrow in the second quarter. That's what they do from here. I'd probably roll with Browning for now. A couple of years ago, when Burrow broke his wrist and Browning had to step in, he overall looked pretty good. I mean, look at who he's throwing to. Jamar Chase had 14 catches for 165 and a touchdown. With Jake Brown throwing him the football, just less obviously change like that. Most of that game, you have T. Higgins, Chase Brown behind you. Not much of a line, and you have to pretty much score 30 points a game to give yourself a shot in every game because their defense isn't good. But probably should bring in another backup. Yeah, well, I know I mean that pops up his name, it's Jacoby Brissett. I know he's in Arizona now. Maybe Cooper Rush. I think Cooper Rush he plays for Baltimore, Detroit, or something now. Was a backup in Dallas for a while. Maybe bring him in for depth. The only end I really see them that could be legit upgrades. Maybe Tyrod Taylor with the Jets, but he's their backup. He's probably going to have to play this coming week if Fields possibly hurt. And the Jets' only other quarterback is Adrian Martinez, who has never ever played a snap, I don't think. I mean, maybe Jameis Winston. I think the Giants maybe would move him for the right price. But, is he really better than Jake Browning? If not, is it worth giving up a 4th-round draft pick for a guy that, you might only play a few games this year? Maybe plays 4 games this year. Like, the one name that jumped off the page, Russell Wilson would be a clear upgrade. But I don't think he's available right now. If things go really poorly in a few weeks, maybe Jackson Dart gets a start. Whereas week 6 against the Saints, whether it's a little bit later than that, maybe Giants let go of Ross and roll with Jameis as Dart's mentor/backup. But right now, I can't imagine he's available since he's still the starting quarterback with the Giants. So for now, just grab somebody off the waiver wire or give up a 7th-round pick for some random-ass backup and probably roll with Jake Browning for now. I don't know what their schedule looks like, but they're sitting here at 2-0. So obviously could be worse, but I'd say huge loss to lose Joe Burrow. And the Jaguars, like Trevor Lawrence, 24 of 42 for 271 and 3 touchdowns. Also had 3 turnovers. At some point, we can't keep doing with Trevor Lawrence. I get he's on his 5th head coach in 5 years. The Jaguars never had a good defense as long as they've had him. But at some point, it's like, dude, maybe you're not that guy. Maybe you're not the guy who we thought was a generational talent, was 1st overall pick of 2021. Maybe you're not. You might not be that guy. Because there's been a lot of flashes. He had a good year a few years ago when he took them to the playoffs. Had that crazy comeback in that playoff game. But other than that, he was obviously with Brewer's rookie year. And these last few years, he's been very inconsistent, had some injuries. And at some point, we can't keep doing this, Trevor. Okay, we can't keep doing this with you. Cowboys over the Giants, 40-37. Crazy game. If Ravens-Bills isn't the game of the year thus far, it's definitely Cowboys-Giants. Cowboys win in overtime. Giants score late in the 4th quarter. Then Brandon Aubrey, which is an inhumane act with his leg, with this kick. 64-yard field goal for Brandon Aubrey as time expires to send the game to overtime. Back and forth game in overtime. Giants have a chance. There was a second down. Russell Wilson makes this really poor mistake. Russ played a great game. 30 of 41 for 450 yards and 3 touchdowns. But what are you doing? I get you're under a little bit of pressure trying to make something happen. But the game is tied. There's only a couple minutes left. A field goal wins the game. There's no need to go deep into double coverage. And it was such a bad throw, too. Like, what are you going to do there? I think he maybe had a flashback to his Seattle days when he used to have that great deep ball. Dude, you haven't played for Seattle in, 4 years? You don't have that same deep ball anymore. Why are you doing that? And then, of course, that sets up Brandon Aubrey to make this kick. I'll say Brandon Aubrey is an incredible story. He did not play college football. He was a soccer player. He was a first round pick by the MLS, Major League Soccer. Just eventually decided I don't want to do this anymore. He retired from playing soccer and decided to use, I think, his software engineering degree and get like a legit real job like the rest of us. And then I think maybe he was watching football and his wife, saw like someone about to make a field goal or they miss a field goal. And so oh, Brandon Aubrey could make that kick. My husband can make that kick. Aubrey was thought, oh yeah? So he started what he would do during the day. He would work as a software engineer or whatever he was. And at night, he would practice kicking field goals. He eventually got a shot with the USFL, was signed by a USFL team, kicked really well. And then the Cow ended up giving him a shot a couple of years ago. And all of a sudden, he's the best kicker in the NFL. So it's an amazing, amazing story. Brandon Aubrey, best kicker in the league. And big game for him. Dallas wins 4-37. Javonte Williams looks good again. 18 carries, 97 yards and a touchdown. Big game from Blake Neighbors. He had 9 catches for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns in the loss. But Dallas picks up a win. Done 9 in a row over the Giants for Dallas Cowboys. Lions beat the brakes off the Bears. 52-31. Jared Goff, 23 of 28 for 334 yards and 5 touchdowns. Huge game for him. Gibbs runs one in. Sonic and Knuckles, him Montgomery looked really good on the ground. Roman Doom's the lone bright spot for the Bears. 7 catches for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's time to have a conversation about Caleb Williams. I've tried to warn people, especially Bears fans, about how bad this guy is. I'm going to say this as loud and clear as I can. Caleb Williams blows. He absolutely sucks. Last year, people said, the offensive line's really bad. The dude holds on to the ball forever. I could drive up the block to some random Italian restaurant, have dinner, drive back to my house, turn my television back on, and the dude still wouldn't have gotten rid of the ball. His pocket presence is garbage. Some of the worst I've ever seen. Number 1 overall pick in the draft last year. He's terrible. And some of his stats look good, not that many turnovers. For example, this week he started off pretty good. Because the guy is just doing check downs and out routes and simple throws that any quarterback on the face of the planet can hit. He refuses to push the ball down the field because he knows he can't do it. When he was coming out of school, people were saying, he got this rocket arm. Are you aware that he played, the 2 schools he played for, USC and Oklahoma, in the Big 12? Big 12 is notorious for having no defense whatsoever. That's why most of the quarterbacks that come out of that conference don't work out in the NFL. You go from, every game is 56-46, and you go to the NFL, all of a sudden there's real defense. Oh crap. This is a little harder, not gonna lie. And all these crazy off-platform things that he did, I tried to tell people there is one guy that can do that in the NFL, And his name is Patrick Mahomes, because Mahomes is one of one in a different breed. You'll know the story with him. I said to people, Caleb Williams, 75% of the throws that he makes in college, he will not be able to do in the NFL. Look, that does not work in the NFL. It does not. Okay, the guy is horrible. He's one of the worst leaders I've ever seen. He's terrible. I think he's a lost cause. I would trade him right now. Tyson Bagent in the week one against Minnesota probably wins that game. And I don't even think that's arguable. Like, the guy is terrible. And he was never that good. He was overhyped from the start. He was never that good. And now it shows. Like, I don't think he cares. I think he wants to go to Hollywood, but, probably had rich parents, so they got him into USC or Oklahoma, where Oklahoma's where he started. He eventually transfers to USC. And the media liked, his persona and the Hollywood act. They bought into it. And we were able to find a team that's stupid enough to think, oh, this guy's elite. Let's draft him really high in the draft. Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears. Once he got to the NFL, he got his check, got his huge contract. He got drafted. He's like, oh, now let's draw the media attention. And in a few years, he's going to go Hollywood. Because look, he's not going to be in the league in 5 years. I said when he got drafted, he will not be in the league in 5 years. He will not be employed by an NFL team in 5 years. He'll have made enough money to last him. He'll probably be on the big screen somewhere, some crappy project in Hollywood. But he is not an NFL caliber quarterback. He is one of the biggest busts in the history of the NFL. Outside of Jamarcus Russell and Ryan Leaf, I don't know if there's a bigger bust. Maybe Zach Wilson, maybe Trey Lance. Other than that, he is one of the 5 biggest busts in the history of the NFL. He absolutely sucks. I'm sorry, Bears fans. I tried to warn you. The guy is horrible. Like Ben Johnson, I think one of 2 things are going to happen. He's either going to try and fix him, not going to be able to, and they'll blame Ben Johnson in 2 or 3 years and fire him. And they'll probably ruin his chance of being a head coach ever again. Or after the season, Ben Johnson won't be able to take this BS anymore, and he'll quit, and he'll leave. I don't know how he's going to be able to get through this year with this guy. I think it's going to be relatively tough. I think he might walk away. He just might. Because, my God, Caleb Williams is horrid at football. Rams-Titans. Rams win 30-19. Stafford, 23 of 30 for 298 and 2 touchdowns. Plays very well. 106 yards and a touchdown for Devontae Adams. He had a big game. Rams looked good. Stafford's backs looked fine. I personally wasn't as worried as others about his back. I get why. He's, 37 years old. Was bothering him all camp, all preseason. But I really think they were being overly cautious with him. There's no reason if he even has a smidge of an injury, if he's even 99% healthy, not 100% healthy, for him to be taking more major snaps in training camp, in those scrimmages, taking major snaps in the preseason. The guy is 37 years old, Super Bowl champion quarterback. He's in year 16 or 17, whatever it is. The guy knows what he's doing. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, so there's no reason to push it. I was never really that worried. Rams win. Titans look really bad, man. Their coach Brian Callen didn't even know the catch rule last week. They've not looked competitive since he took over last year as the head coach. Shame because Cam Ward's actually made some really impressive throws. Some were completed, some were just brutal drops by the Titans receivers. That team is just horrible. The offensive line is horrible. They have one decent receiver in Calvin Ridley, and that's about it. You have a decent back in Tony Pollard. That's about it. Yeah, he had that one crazy play on like that. We ran back 20 yards backwards, made that throw. Might have been a 2-point conversion, actually. So he actually has flashed a little bit, but they look rough. They look like they're going to fail this kid. It really is a shame. But Rams win 30-19. Patriots over the Dolphins, 33-27. Two of them a loss, 26-32 for 315 and 2 scores. Dolphins, they look horrendous. They look awful. Mike McDaniel is a joke. He's just not an NFL caliber head coach. Might be a good offensive coordinator, but he is not a head coach at this level. He's simply not. Chris Greer's done a terrible job. I'd be relatively surprised if Tyreek Hill is on this roster week 8. I don't see how this guy doesn't get traded. He can still play 6 catches for 109 yards yesterday, but I don't see how he still plays. Patriots pick up a win. Big win for Drake May. That New England defense does not look good. It's been surprisingly bad. They've had some moments, like Milton Williams made a big play yesterday. So they've had some moments. No, Christian Gonzalez been playing week 1. But for as much money as they spent on the defense, as much raw talent there is on my defense, with who the coach is now with Mike Vrabel, I've been surprised of how off they've looked, especially in the secondary. I've been very surprised. Very surprised. But they're at 1-1. Dolphins dropped to 0-2. 49ers beat the Saints 26-21. Mac Jones and his first start for the 49ers. They brought him in the offseason. Remember, Kyle Shanahan wanted to draft him. 3rd overall a few years ago, that he was overruled by the GM and he took Trey Lance, which obviously did not work out. Mac 26-39 for 279 and 3 touchdowns. Jelon Jennings 5 for 89 in the score. Remember, George Kittle's out, so they gotta have the receiver step up. They beat the Saints. From the 49ers side, they're at 2-0. Kyle Shanahan's probably looking at John Lynch. You know the meme of Shannon Sharp's like, that's what he's doing to John Lynch. Like, dude, I told you you should have drafted this kid. I don't think Mac was ever going to be elite. But Darren Orlovsky on Get Up said, I think it was last week, that Mac Jones, if he starts for the 49ers, will look just like Brock Purdy. And Rex Ryan was like, absolutely not. He might have been right. He looked like pretty much like Brock Purdy. They might be in pretty solid hands, even if Purdy, I know there's a chance he plays this coming week. I personally thought they might miss 4 or 5 games. Never saying he might play this coming week, but I wouldn't rush him back. Mac in this offense, I think, can hold the fort down. Not be able to. Granted, he played the Saints, who are just dreadful. That defense is absolutely atrocious. As bad as the Bengals are, the Saints are almost in another category of how bad they are. And just, not only is the roster horrible, the worst roster in the league, they're also old. Their only legit young piece they really have is Chris Olave, and he's always hurt. He's one concussion away from possibly having his career be pretty much over. The only other legitimately kind of elite players, Alvin Kamara's a great running back. He's 30 years old. You have Cameron Jordan, still a very good defensive end. He's 36 years old. Mo Davis is still a great linebacker. He's 34, 35. So the team's just old. It's one thing if you're this bad and you're young, all right, you can get better. But you're this bad and you're old, it's like, where do you even go from here? If you have the Saints, just lose them all. They lose them all and get the first pick. I've never seen a team that needs a tank more than the New Orleans Saints. Like, Spencer Rattler is their starting quarterback. There's maybe 5 teams in the NFL where he'd be a 3rd-string quarterback. It's unbelievable how bad he is and how embarrassing. He's a starting quarterback in the NFL, week 1 starter. He is just dreadful. But Niners won. People trying to say, like, oh, Saints might be able to pull it out. Niners are really banged up. You could have put me back there at quarterback. I think I might have been able to beat the Saints. They are just terrible. And the Bills beat the Jets 30-10 in what was an embarrassing game for the Jets. James Cook runs for 132 and 2 touchdowns. The season's over. Yes, season's over. They are horrible. Justin Fields looked absolutely pathetic. He ended up getting hurt, suffers a concussion, might not play this coming week. Tyrod Taylor finishes up the game. They didn't run the ball well at all. They have one legit weapon in Garrett Wilson, who's really, really good, but their second receiver. Al Lazard is horrible. Arian Smith played pretty well yesterday. Kid that they drafted, they like him. Haven't seen him enough yet. He took his tight end Mason Taylor. He's been a ghost through 2 games. The offensive line isn't that good. Losing Vera Tucker is going to be a big loss. This defense is terrible. Quinn Williams is a stud in the middle. Having Jermaine Johnson healthy is big. But Michael Clemens is freaking horrible. Another bad penalty from him. He's just terrible. More bad penalties. Other than that, on my D-line, what else do they really have? Okay, Quincy Williams is good. Jamie Sherwood, they cut C.J. Mosley because they thought Sherwood could give him the same production for less money. Not so far. He played pretty well last year, but he's been terrible so far. Sauce is a great corner. There are very few corners who are as good as Sauce Gardner are in coverage. Holy crap, that guy can't tackle. He's a terrible tackler. And then Brandon Stevens, oh my. Brandon Stevens is gotta be the worst starting corner in the NFL. He was terrible in Baltimore. People were clowning on him with the Ravens last year. Ravens fans were clowning on him last year. And just thought, let's throw what, $13 or $12 million at him to replace DJ Reed, who's a borderline Pro Bowler, to be our second best corner. What were you thinking, Darren? Really? This guy flat out sucks. Who else was in the rest of that secondary? Michael Carter, their slot corner, isn't very good. He's looked terrible. Their safety, their Andre Cisco isn't that good. Who's their other safety? Is it? Remember who it is. He drafted Malachi Moore, who was very good in college for Alabama, who produces a lot of good defensive backs. Start him. Start him now. I don't care who safety. Start him at corner. You cannot possibly be worse than Brandon Stevens. Their pass rush isn't that good. They're not that great against the run. The secondary is horrible. This defense is not that good. It's not what it seems to be. And Aaron Glenn, people are trying to tell me, like, oh, I like what you see. What have you seen? It's more terrible penalties. He says, oh, if you're going to lose those games, you're going to be off the team. And they're going, we call Xavier Gibson. It took long enough. The guy had 10 fumbles in 3 years. I know Glenn wasn't there for the first 2, obviously. But Michael Clemens just takes bad penalty after bad penalty after bad penalty, year in and year out, and he makes the roster every year. Glenn goes, I did say, oh yeah, it can't happen. Like, I'm trying to convince him. I'm trying to get him to buy in. He did a good job in camp. I don't care, Aaron. Get him off the freaking roster. Pirates on Darren Mogi for not giving Glenn enough depth on the defensive line. Because if Jermaine Johnson gets hurt, and he did get hurt in the game, might not play this coming week, where he's coming off a torn Achilles from last year, then Michael Clemens will start. Like, that can't happen. This team is horrible. Everyone, the way he managed that game, you're down 20-0. It's 4 inches. You have a 220-pound quarterback who is a great athlete in Justin Fields. And you punt. Really? You freaking gave up. I see no difference between Aaron Glenn and Robert Saleh. At least Glenn was a little bit of fire on the sideline. Saleh did not. But just same old BS with defensive mind, supposed to, reinforce the toughness in the game. And he's going to come and not do that. And same PR BS, no fire in the press conferences. Like, they brought this guy because they thought, all right, he'll still have the same defensive identity they had under Saleh. You're like, oh, but he learned a lot of offense from Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson in Detroit, and they can play his style of football with having a running quarterback and a deep running back room and a talented defense. No, it's the same stuff with Robert Saleh. He was a defensive coordinator who had, his defenses in San Francisco were really good with a really elite talent. He coached under a really bright offensive mind in Kyle Shanahan. He's going to bring an offensive coach from that team to be his offensive coordinator. Will reinforce toughness and grit and be disciplined. We'll have a really good defense, and we'll run the football a lot. We'll play smash football, and then fast forward 3-4 years, and you're just garbage. You have the worst offense in football. You're the most undisciplined team in the league, and it didn't work. The Jets have been trying to do this for the better part of almost 3 decades. They've been trying to do this for 25 plus years. Enough. Okay? I have no confidence in Aaron Glenn, no confidence in Darren Mogi, no confidence in this team. If they win 3 games, I'll be shocked. The Jets season is over. They absolutely suck. Seahawks can beat the Steelers 31-17. Darnold 23 of 33 for 295 and 2 touchdowns, 105 yards on the score for Kenneth Walker, 8 catches for 100 yards for Jackson Smith-Njigba. Steelers made a brutal error on a kickoff. Here it is. What was that? That was horrible. Caleb Johnson, gets caught between. I think touches. You have to cover for a touchdown in the end zone on their own kickoff. Wow, just wow. It's stuff like that. That's why I've been saying for years. I think they should move on from Mike Tomlin, and they won't do it. And Aaron Rodgers didn't even play well. I knew that was going to happen. He was going to lay up a Jets and he'd look washed as ever the rest of the way. Guy's 41 years old. Be 42 by the end of the year. What are we doing here? Seahawks win, both teams are at 1-1. Ravens get past the Browns, no problem. 4-17. Oh, I don't want to hear it from freaking Myles Garrett. I said, this is embarrassing. Brother, you signed the check. Granted, they gave him a enormous deal. $40 million a year for a pass rusher is crazy. But look, he's amazing. He's maybe the best defensive player in the league. It's either him apart, maybe TJ Watt. But like, you signed the check. It's your signature on my check. You didn't have to sign. You could have said, "Get me the bleep out of here now," which he kind of did, and then they told him, "We'll give you all this money." Like, maybe it isn't that bad. First of all, I guess it is. Cleveland's a dump. And second of all, just wow, the Browns are bad. Flacco's looked okay-ish, I guess. I don't know what else you want me to say about him. At this point, I would just like, you know what? We suck. Start Dylan Gabriel. If he shows you anything cool, play Shador at some point. Play those 2 kids. See if you have anything with those guys. So what? You win. You win 3 games. So what? You have a top 3 pick again. And then if anyone's gonna show you anything, give him a shot next year with a real team, hopefully. If not, move on and start fresh and draft somebody in this coming draft. Because, man, I do think once they get Quinshon Judkins going, I think that kid could be a really good running back in this league that'll be helpful. There are a few games on the schedule they could win, but they're better off not. Like, they could potentially have 5 or 6 wins, I think. They're better off winning, starting Gabriel and Shador and winning 2, maybe 3, and having a top 3 pick. That's their best bet, honestly. Colts beat the Broncos 29-20. Another strong game from Daniel Jones. 23-34 for 316 yards. A touchdown. Also, a rush touchdown. 165 yards on the ground for Jonathan Taylor. They had a 60-yard to win the game, but they missed. But Denver bails them out with this crucial mistake. That's bad. This is why I think Sean Payton's overrated. Look, he's a very bright offensive mind. With the Saints, I really think he just kind of locked into an elite talent in Drew Brees. But Bo Nix played well as well. First of all, he doesn't look very good this year. Second of all, they're so undisciplined since he took over. I think the guy's so overrated. Like, the leverage penalty, personal foul. That's huge. Not only because the game would have been over, obviously, but a 60-yard field goal, you got to have a special time leg to make that. Now it turns into a 45-yard field goal. In today's NFL, where kickers are as good as ever, 45 yards, not a gimme, but relatively easy to make. Kickers make probably close to a 90% clip, if not more than that. And of course, this will happen next. 45-yarder, good. Colts win 29-28. They go with 2-0. Just brutal mistake by the Denver Broncos at the end of that game. Cardinals over the Panthers, 27-22. Bryce, 35 out of 55 for 328 and 3 touchdowns. He's looked a little better than last week, but he looked terrible. I think it's another bad year for Carolina. Their defense, which was dreadful last year, looks just as bad, which is really concerning because they did spend a bunch of money on it in the offseason. Not a good look. Bryce Young still sucks. Uh, they're probably staring at 0-5, 0-6 in the face. It's going to be probably another 4 or 5 win year at best for the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young's in year 3. He had one, maybe 4 or 5 week stretch last year where he played well. Other than that, for 90% of his career, he's looked just beyond dreadful. And then Eagles over the Chiefs 20-17. So the rematch, Chiefs are 0-2 for the first time since 2014. It was year 2 of Andy Reid. Of course, Mahomes was not drafted until 2018. Eagles, they haven't looked great for 2 weeks, but they've gotten the wins. I know Dallas, they're simply a better football team than Dallas. I don't think is very good. They don't have much of a defense with Michael Parsons now in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And the Chiefs, they were banged up. Alvin Rasheed Rice was suspended. Xavier Worthy was hurt. So I think that was definitely part of it. But Chiefs, they look off. I'm not going to lie. Kelsey drops the ball in the end zone, leading to an interception. He looks really washed. Mahomes doesn't look great. Defensively, they have looked good, but offensively, the concerns that we've had the last 2 years, even though they won the Super Bowl and lost from the Super Bowl last year, are still ringing true and are getting worse. So, little concerned about them. They're also not fun to watch. They're a little sloppy offensively. The play calling isn't great. Matt Nagy's a complete joke. Obviously the cutoff to Taylor Swift or Taylor Kelsey now, soon to be Taylor Kelsey. They're just not fun to watch. To be honest, the Eagles really aren't either. Hurts is not the best passer in the world. They run the ball a lot, and also it's a lot of QB sneaks with the tush push of Jalen Hurts. Both teams are absolutely elite. Don't get me wrong, but not fun to watch. So Eagles 2-0, Chiefs 0-2. They have a tough start for them. And Sunday Night Football, Falcons over the Vikings 22-6. That was a brutal watch for us fans. J.J. McCarthy really struggles. 11 of 21 for just 150 yards, 2 picks, and a lost fumble. He was unbelievably bad. Through 2 games, he wasn't good against the Bears either. The first half, he was dreadful. Played a little better in the second half. Comes up big late, but for most of that game against the Bears, he was bad. And he was terrible last night against the Falcons. He didn't have a ton of time to throw. Falcons had 6 or 7 sacks. That new and improved pass rush looked really good. So shout out Poker Romo getting promoted to the active roster. They benched Young Waiku like a day before the game in the post-game interview. You didn't even know who Leonard Floyd was. It was hilarious. And he made 5 field goals, 5 for 5. So kudos to him. But Falcons pick up a big win, winning 22-6. We got 2 games coming up tonight. Of course, we'll talk about those games tomorrow. So we got to talk a little wrestling, talk about Friday Night SmackDown from last week. But first off, congrats to Terrence Crawford. He beat Canelo Alvarez by unanimous decision in that boxing match that was on Netflix a couple of days ago. I think he's now at the first ever champion 3 division or something like that. But congratulations to him. He's had an incredible career. He's one of the best boxers of this generation. So congratulations to him. But let's talk about Friday Night SmackDown. We had a Brock Lesnar segment to open up. It was R-Truth comes out. They had a segment. It was pretty funny. Brock's promo wasn't great, not gonna lie. That was not a great promo on his part, but R-Truth was funny as always. Was kind of funny. Brock broke again. R-Truth just loves breaking Brock Lesnar. So funny. I love when he's calls John Cena his childhood hero when he's older than John Cena. It's a very funny gag. And of course, Brock ends up F5ing him. And he snapped his pants. That was pretty funny. Snapped his pants. He kind of had fun with it. That was pretty funny. From there, we had major points where we had a bunch of vignettes, social calls. I'm like, oh, I've lost everything from the title of tribal chief and the E44 and my family, and now I lost my United States Championship. So see what's next for him and his group. Although I6 had one. They were tag champs right now. The WWE Tag Team Champions. Aleister Black had one. As the slow feud with Jimmy and Priest continues. Triple H loves his really, really, really slow builds. Unfortunately, Charlotte Flair is injured. Nick Aldis mentioned on SmackDown in his backstage segment with Chelsea Green and her group. But I think next week I think they're gonna have it's gonna be Charlotte and Alexa in the match with somebody else, and I think the winner might get Chelsea's group, whatever that means. Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill's in a double count out. Nia Jax, tax buff woman. This feud sucks. Tiffany's title reign has been horrible. It's just been a whole lot of nothing. Can we stop with the Nia Jax feud with her? They've been feuding for almost a year. Enough. Stop. And they're gonna have a triple threat match for the championship. Have it be on SmackDown. Please don't put that on WrestlePalooza. No one wants to see that crap. Okay. And if you want to go into like a Jade and Nia feud on that point, I don't even care. To me, else they all suck. Tiffany, she had a complete botch on that moonsault. Jade is unbelievably horrible, and Nia, we all know what Nia Jax is. This run's been a little bit better. I actually didn't hate her championship run. I actually thought it was pretty good. But just the Tiffany feud overall was good. Just got dragged out too long, like a lot of these storylines do over the last year, and just Tiffany's reign needs to end. They should really give it to Lyra Valkyria. Figure it out. Enough of this. And Keanu and Julia attacked Beefhead before the match could start. I have no idea what they're doing with Julia. Can they let her wrestle? I don't even hate Kiana James as Julia's like freaking representative, whatever you want to say. But just God, the women's U.S. title, every reign has been horrible. Chelsea Green's reign was terrible. Then she dropped it to was it Zelina Vega? Hers was just brutal, and Julia's has somehow been worse. The thing is, Julia is so unbelievably talented, and they're just wasting her. It really is a shame. Yeah, the United States Championship, of course, Sami Zayn continued his U.S. Open Challenge, defeated Ray Fenix. That was a really good match. Ray Fenix is really talented. He definitely deserves more screen time. They haven't really used him just coming over from AEW. He's really, really good. That was a very good match. Like, that match could have been on the PLE, and we got it on episodic television. That was really good. Then he went with the Haluva kick, and then of course backstage, him and Carmelo Hayes had a meeting. Looks like it's gonna be Carmelo and Sammy next week for the U.S. title, and the Miz and Carmelo had that little run in. I'm hoping what happens either have Carmelo Hayes win the belt, or have the Miz cost him, have him turn on Carmelo and officially really kick up this Miz and Carmelo Hayes feud. That could be a match. Could be a great last second act to WrestlePalooza, or maybe even if you have it down the line at Crown Jewel or something, because that could be a really good feud. And the main event, Drew McIntyre against Randy Orton. Drew McIntyre picks up the win, and Cody Rhodes comes out, saves Orton after he got attacked by Drew after the match, and he would defend his title against Drew at WrestlePalooza this coming Saturday. And then Drew should have to win that match. It's the first PLE on ESPN. No one wants to see another Cody reign. Let's get spicy. Have him win the match, okay? He deserves it. He deserves a legit world title reign in front of a crowd. Obviously, I'm not counting the one he had at WrestleMania last year. It was 5 minutes long before Priest cashed in on him thanks to CM Punk. Like, give him a legit reign in front of a crowd. He deserves it. Okay, he should actually be Cody Rhodes on Saturday. To me, it's not even a debate. He probably won't because Triple H loves Cody Rhodes for some reason, but Drew McIntyre should absolutely win that match. I don't even know why they gave the belt back to Cody. If he was going to be off TV for a month, he was filming his stupid little movie. But that's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.